We shall now have an opportunity for a moment's silence, prayers, and meditation. Thank you so much. We may be seated. Good morning, honorable members of the Limpopo Legislature, Dr. Popira Matuba, the Premier of the province, MECs present here today, Deputy Speaker, Chair of Chairs, Deputy Chair of Chairs, Deputy Chief Whip, and the entire Whipari, the Leader of the Opposition, and all members of the legislature, members, all guests that are in the gallery. Yeah, we can see that the HOD for Treasury is still here. He wants to listen to the debate attentively. You are welcome, HOD. We must welcome Ntata Sowa representing the DG, I hope, and all other HODs that might be here, everyone that is following us on social media to this debate. Premier, I've seen that Honorable Mapoulo will be live on 408. I've seen on social media that he will be live on 408. So this debate is a very important debate. Honorable members, I must remind you that the programming committee has resolved to decide that item 2, motions without notice, Rule 145, item 3, notice of motions, Rule 146, item 4, statement by members, Rule 199, and executive statements, Rule 200, are deferred to the ensuing sittings that will follow. So on that note, we'll go directly to item 6 in terms of the tabling of the reports and other reports and papers, which is none. We'll move directly to item 7, which is orders of the day. Item 7.1 is the debate on the Premier State of the Province address, which will go directly to the speaker's list. But I must as well indicate, honorable members that will be coming to debate, that you have seen how many minutes you have. We will be timing you, but we hope you have timed yourself so that we are able to be fair to all members that will be debating today. So on that note, without wasting any time, we will move directly to 7.1, debate on the Premier State of the Province address, which the person who's opening the debate today is none other than Honorable Monama Khanye Rogers, the Deputy Chief Whip. He has got 15 minutes to the debate. Thank you so much. Over to you, Honorable Monama.
Speaker of our provincial legislature, Honorable Dr. Makoma Makrupeji, the Deputy Speaker of the legislature, Honorable Tebogo Mamrovela, the Honorable Premier of our province, Dr. Popira Matuba, Honorable members of the Executive Council, Chair of Chairs, Honorable Thabo Ndrumukoni, Deputy Chair of Chairs, Honorable Azani Pitang Kobeni, Chairperson of Portfolio Committees and Standing Committees, honorable members of this august House, the Chief Whip of the Majority Party, in absentia, Honorable Esob Mokhonyana and the entire Whipari. Madam Speaker, firstly, we want to take this opportunity as the African National Congress to appreciate the visionary and the judicious leadership of our Honorable Premier, Dr. Popira Matuba, on her stewardship of this province. Under your capable hands, Honorable Premier, this province, which is led by the ANC, is poised for development trajectory that reflects the steady progress in infrastructure investment, building cohesive, sustainable, caring communities with improved access to social amenities, which is a precursor for sustainable livelihood. The SOPA must be understood in the context of that, Honorable Premier, that it comprehensively identified the substantial progress that the African National Congress-led government has made since 1994, as well as the overarching challenges that still needs to be overcome, as well as meeting the objective of rolling back the quagmire of the overarching triple challenges, which are poverty, unemployment, and inequality. This SOPA cannot be defined of hope alone, but by evidence of the ANC-led government at work and in action. Albert Einstein has said that everything that is really great and inspiring is created by individuals who can labor in freedom. Nothing is as precious as one's freedom. Dreams, aspirations, and ideals means nothing if it does not have the freedom to pursue them. The close quote. The Honorable Premier, I think, he has overdone herself in the presentation of the SOPA. The Honorable Premier has explicitly outlined a multi-pronged turnaround strategy anchored on key thematic areas. That is an inclusive growth and job creation, reducing poverty and tackling the high cost of living, and building a capable, ethical, and a developmental state. Madam Speaker, cognizance of the unpalatable state of affairs that the recent devastating floods has severely impacted on our economy and has imposed debilitating and deleterious impact on our normal way of doing government business. Indeed, the floods have left homes destroyed, families displaced, infrastructure damaged, and lives lost. We also want to express our profound sense of gratitude on the extraordinary leadership of the Honorable Premier and His Excellency the President Cyril Ramaphosa for their responsiveness and decisiveness on this unprecedented disaster. That's what we call Honorable Mapolo, coincidental and conscientious leadership. Indeed, ANC owe you an enormous debt of gratitude. Nelson Mandela once said, like slavery and apartheid, poverty is natural. It is a man-made and it can be overcome and eradicated by action of human beings. And overcoming poverty is not a gesture of charity. It is an act of justice, close quote. It is in that context that as the African National Congress, we commend the Honorable Premier for giving us confidence on pronouncing substantial progress in the implementation of high-impact projects like Musina Makato Special Economic Zone and Fetahomo Industrial Park. We support the SOPA fully because our strong conviction is that it confirms our resolve and commitment in addressing the overarching triple challenges, unlocking systematic blockages in all our earmarked catalytic projects which are aimed at contributing towards industrialization, employment creation, improvement in the quality of life of our people is a step in a right trajectory. Implementation of all massive water projects implemented through the RAPIC is yet another affirmation, Honorable Premier, that the ANC commitment to ensuring that our people have access to clean and potable water. Madam Speaker, the dynamic nature of our province requires all of us as a public representative in this August House to comprehensively address the overwhelming needs and expectations of our people. As members of this August House, irrespective of our political affiliation, We can't come here and behave like commoners with no responsibility to stabilize our province and in our revolutionary crusade of pushing back the frontiers of poverty. We can't speak of accountability as if it is only meant for the African National Congress. It is against this presidium and decorum of our constitutional democracy that we need to not to reduce ourselves to howlers as empty vessels, which makes the noisiest voice. I think our constituencies will be shockingly ashamed of our failure to advocate and advance their aspiration, but instead become perpetual complaints without any alternative practical program. This will demonstrate lack of depth and intellectual bankruptcy, our inability to grasp the objective material condition imposed by the global structural economic control is a case under review. Only ultra-crepitarians can come with frivolous and vexatious political undertones as if things are normal, as if they have the magic wand to provide tangible solutions. It is quite worrying and disingenuous that some members are hell-bent in focusing on a person in the form of the premier, not the good ideas and the vision presented through SOPA. However, great scholars of servant leadership have taught us that charlatans and populist demagogues offers no practical solutions, but rather like grandstanding and choreographing the things that are not applicable. It is usually futile to try to talk facts and analysis to people who are enjoying a sense of moral superiority in their ignorance. The people of Limpopo have legitimate expectation of improved livelihood and dignity. Therefore, we are collectively indebted to work tirelessly towards deepening efforts to transform the economic patterns of the present in order to realize the set vision of our 5 years of office in the said administration and beyond, and to ensure that we place service delivery at the center of transformation and development trajectory. Through your targeted and focused intervention, Honorable Premier, there has been remarkable progress on the 2024-2025 financial year audit outcomes. While we have 5 clean audits, and all our department got unqualified audit opinions, which is unprecedented. We give accolades and kudos to those provincial auditors, which are candidates for clean audit opinions, and they've raised the bar worth emulating. We must therefore continue to lead the way in good governance and prudent utilization of state resources. This is a great milestone for the ANC-led administration. Notwithstanding your commitment, Honorable Premier, to ensure that as part of the legacy projects, that Sekhukhune district offices are located from Capricorn to Sekhukhune, not in exile, in an inverted commas. We are steadfast in our support for realization of this project. Re molomo wa lehlabula ka gore ka moka ga rena bana ba thulare ba nyaka di-office tša bona kwa Sekhukhune. Honorable Premier, local government is at the cold face of service delivery. Hence, collectively, we have to redouble our efforts to improve accountability and governance. Needless to say, if local government fails, service delivery also fails, and the province fails. We also welcome the concrete intervention to continue to lead the way in good governance and sound public management. We applaud your leadership prowess, Honorable Premier, in providing direction and guidance in unlocking political logjam in troubled Tabazimbi local municipality. It is now incumbent upon us as the legislative arm to enhance and sharpen oversight tools and capacity on how this SOPA is to be implemented for the benefit of the people of Limpopo. We are inspired and propelled to work harder in ensuring that collectively we put all our hands on a deck to push back the frontiers of poverty and underdevelopment, to transform the socio-economic landscape of our province. Madam Speaker, the reality is things are significantly shaping up. Hence, there is an urgent need for collectively to find minimal ways within this tight fiscal space to boost the economy, protect jobs, curb poverty, while reducing inequality. As the ANC, we are unequivocal in support of this 2026 SOPA statement. Intlo ya mina ngiyakhensa. Pula.
Ra leboga Kanyane, even saving us some few minutes for us. We will now proceed to Honorable Mapoulo Khabo Lawrence. Over to you, Honorable Member. Your time is 10 minutes.
No. So before I start, it must be updated. I'm going to stay here for 22 minutes. I'll be here for the coming 22 minutes. Please update it before and put 22 minutes here. No, it's allowed. We wrote to the chief whip, ma'am.
Honorable members, can we allow the UIPARI to assist us? Honorable Munam.
No, thanks very much, Honorable Madam Speaker. It's true that the party that Honorable Mapoulo is represented, they formally submitted a request that because of the stage fright, they will they will donate, Honorable Lebogo and Honorable Mogwan will donate their minutes to Honorable Mapoulo, which constitute 21 minutes, which is permissible.
Thank you so much. Now the matter has been laid to rest. Over to you. How many minutes do you give you, Honorable Mapoulo? I'm a bit confused. 22.
Two. No, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. When the Premier came in on the 14th June 2024 with that paraffin spit, she proudly remarked that dilo di change. The reality of the ground on the ground is that dilo di sharakane. This is the sentiment we get from our people when we travel the length and breadth of our province. Furthermore, we see some of these devastating failures ourselves on daily basis when we visit our people on the ground. Honorable Speaker, it is alleged that the MEC of Agriculture hired her son, known as Mpete Collector, who happens to be the Chief of Staff in the Department of Agriculture. And it is alleged that it is a son with the husband, Mekekan. We therefore demand immediate answers and action on the matter. We will follow it up and look at this ANC-aligned appointment. Honorable Speaker, we have observed a disturbing trend or tendency by the Premier since 2024, which cannot go unchallenged. The Premier rarely attached timelines to her commitment, especially on capital infrastructure projects. If they don't have timelines, they are not commitments. It's simply blowing hot air. In instances where she does, project timelines are not adhered to, as projects get stalled and completed way beyond stipulated timelines, thus compounding the initial budget for the project. The Premier does not want to commit herself because she does not want to be held accountable on failed project. Instead, she deliberately uses words like soon to avoid responsibility and accountability. Soon in the ANC, term can drag for 30 years or more. These evasive tactics by the Premier must stop now because it is not in the best interest of the people of Limpopo, especially the poorest of the poor. The people want tangible and genuine commitment with clear timelines which must be adhered to speed up service delivery. During the State of the Province address, the Premier projected a movie on screen on capital project, creating an impression that work is being done when nothing is happening on the ground. One of the projects flagged by the Premier on the screen during SOPA was the much publicized the Khere Wednesday, which only prioritized quick fixes over comprehensive infrastructure development working with the community. Most of our roads and bridges in the province are in a terrible state and are not user-friendly. The vulnerability of these roads gets exposed, especially during heavy rains and storms, like the ones we recently witnessed, especially in the areas of Vembe and Mopani. The roads in Makhabeng alongside Snobarana was swept away by heavy rains. The road is still the same in the same state to date, to an extent that the people can't even go to Snobarana town, stifling economic activities in the area. Honorable Speaker, the one village, one road at a time approach means will take over 1,000 years to service Limpopo or to fix Limpopo. Honorable Speaker, provision must be made to back pay workers who have been acting on various positions across the department. Those workers have been working. They were not volunteering, and majority of those posts are funded posts. The workers were never given their benefits. This unprecedented level of exploitation by the government to its workers is unacceptable, and it must come to an end. It is a shocking and irony that the government continues to violate the very same labor laws they set to better working conditions for the workers. The ANC wants to use the disaster relief funds to address service delivery, backlog, and elections. Such failures and fatal errors in judgment have immediate and long-term implications which will never stimulate and ignite required growth. In Limpopo, fruitless, wasteful, and irregular expenditure is so dominant that national awards must be convened here, and this province will be on the #1 spot every day. We demand increased procurement for Limpopo business, including women, people living with disability, and military veterans. The ZCC interchange has been mentioned over 2 financial years, yet monies are returned to Treasury, and you don't see anything wrong. Similarly, such behavior is repeated in Sekhukhune office relocation. Such a behavior is unacceptable, and those involved must face consequences. Some of the revenue collection method, like forcing patients to pay at hospitals, remains unethical and wrong, and it is a punishment to our people who were promised free quality health care. Honorable Speaker, a patient suffering from bowel obstruction was admitted at Matala Hospital in Ephraim Mogale Municipality this past Sunday and was left unattended for the whole week and was transferred to Mangoing Hospital, where he lost his life, and may his soul rest in peace. Is this how are you going to treat our people? The declaration of gender-based violence, a femicide, as a national disaster without taking firm action against the perpetrators is much better, but an empty talk. For instance, in Mokopo Mudimwele, a lady was raped by her uncle. He's moving in the street of Mudimomola Mokopo and have been given bail. This government has allowed our society to degenerate even further by massaging GBV cases where majority of women and children are brutally killed. Honorable Speaker, in Polokwane Gateway Airport, money is being pumped as a penalty to maladministration and corruption, but to date, its profitability is even way below Hoedspruit Airport. This is proverbial flogging and dead horse, and we know as the EFF that is being killed. The EFF call upon government to invest on Polokwane International Airport. We need more airlines because the monopoly of SA Link is pushing consumers away. The EFF Limpopo demands insourcing of all projects, including workers. This will build state capacity and make real saving for the state. We are saying create jobs and conducive environment without red tapes to enable entrepreneurship. Then you will realize that actually our people are trapped in grants and they don't necessarily need them. They need opportunities to expose their potential, not to rely on government handouts. The effects of government failure to bolster emerging businesses, be it in agriculture, manufacturing, mining, and other sectors, guaranteed us that there will never be real growth in which the economies of livelihood are satisfied. We call upon government to stop wasting monies with jobs advertisement and simply share such notes with ANC faith because ko senya nako ge le phela le advertiser ka gore ge le toga mowe le fana mishomo ka se ANC ge le bana bao ba rutegilego a ba khumane mishomo le fa tsona di delegate tsa lena tšeo di ile le kgetha lena premier. At what stage will ordinary people get opportunities to work for this government? Same applies to tendering opportunities. They are allocated to those who got close ties with authorities. Le fa bona bo radi tendera ba le tseba gore ba ilo sponsor a conference ya lena ka di 27 tša March kgwedi yane e latelago. Re a tseba you are full of corruption. Many communities around province, including township and towns like Polokwane, are hard hit by water shortages affecting the economy, while heavy industries which need more water for their operations can't produce anything. Water shortages have far-reaching consequences because the ultimate and undesirable result of these job losses adding to already more worrying existing statistics. Honorable Speaker, the Premier also projected 1 meter Fridays on the screen with pride to highlight her invisible achievement while the people of Limpopo are water starving. The scandalous corruption infested in protracted Guyana water project remains incomplete for 16 years after its inception in 2010. This has left 55 communities in Mopani region, and that meant to benefit from the project 34 years. The initial budget for this project was 500 million, and now it has ballooned to 4.5 billion. Makhodu ba itseneletse 4.5 billion e re bolela ka nakwane, and makhodu ya ke di official ke boradi tendera le lena di politician tsa ANC. Now the corrupt Honorable Speaker, apart from the department, the other sinkhole that will and continues to drain the public purse is the Musina Makado SEZ. The SEZ had appointed a new COO to run a stillborn project that refuses to come back to life. Musina Makado SEZ is one of the biggest project failures in this province since the dawn of democracy. It is an elephant in the room for this government, which has no idea on how to implement massive projects such as this one. During the SOPA, the Premier projected this project on the screen, creating an impression that all is well and that there is progress in the project. The state must desist from pumping monies into MM's SEZ and Fetaho Mutuba's SEZ until there is certainty on what must be done. The Musina community is complaining that there's been forgery of documents in securing that land. The matter must be investigated. The painful reality is that there is no tangible and real progress on the ground to the project, which is expected to create more than 20,000 jobs for the people of Vembe. Major hurdles of the project still exist. They have not been removed, while very little progress has been recorded compared to the money already spent. Honorable Speaker, the Zibidela Citrus is another elephant in the room, which challenges spending years to the suffering of the people of Hoshikeka. We were taken aback and shocked when it was projected on the screen. One of the projects making progress when in fact there is a little happening on the side. The so-called investors just come to milk money from the project only to tell workers that there is no money and subsequently abandon the project. Tension between members of CPA continue to suffocate this project under the watchful eye of the government, while jobs continue to be shared. On the 11th of March 2003, the people of Gilead, Ramatsubani, Lefanyani, and Makina were moved from the surrounding orange farms of Limbeck to Millennium Park within the Mogalakwena municipality. After 23 years, many residents still face serious challenges, especially unemployment, illiteracy, and limited economic opportunities. Relocations like this often disrupted farming livelihoods and access to land, which previously supported many families. When communities move from farms to settlement areas without sufficient economic planning, it can lead to long-term social and economic hardship. Limbeck Orange Farm once provided jobs and dignity to our people. These farm workers maintained productive orange farms that contributed to the local economy and supported many households. Today, all of those farms have collapsed, leaving communities with high unemployment and little opportunity. Our people who once worked and sustained these farms are now struggling to survive. Honorable Speaker, the Marapun CRU under Bioscope has installed while millions have been pumped into projects in the last 10 years. This is unjustified. Long wait for the people of Marapung on provision of housing while we continue to suffer during the heavy rains. Similarly, the Chikota CRU has stalled with no tangible progress recorded. This government continues to violate the basic right of our people without any shame. Honorable Speaker, our royal leaders are being treated like subjects and not treated with respect. It is puzzled that officials in government enjoy medical aid benefit while the royal leaders do not get this benefit. We call upon the government to provide medical aid to our royal houses now, not tomorrow, so that we can make sure that our royal house Mahosharena apela na kwetelele. Honorable Speaker, the Premier promised Queen Legana Batho Abobedi, Manyaku Atulare, Kabogadi Apate, and the people of Skukun, a mining academy, and now she's mute on the project. She never said anything about that project. Even now, she can't even say anything. Families in Limpopo are frustrated due to poor services at government mortuary. Workers being overworked, subjected to unhealthy long hours of work, families are struggling to cope with the bereavement which is prolonged by incapable failing state. This is affecting families badly and it must stop. We need to decentralize post-mortem services and urgently more training of professionals to work in that field. Le a tseba le tamo le senya di reto tša borena le senya mo le dika le diema tša borena le re botša gore bana ba motho ba ngathagalana tlhogo ya tšie and as a le ikwešiše lena ma-ANC temana e le e bolela mo obane lena e le tseba ka gore thogane ya tšie ke ya bahumi le lena thogane ya tšie ene la ba la buša na thogane ya tšie le ka re mola le feditše le e nnyane jale la ba la boya la re le šadišitše tšhelete e le kana 736 le se ka botša batho ba borena dilo tše e le gore a di phele thogane ya tšeo le e feditše le bora dithendera tša lena wa tseba gabotse ntate Magwai gore le feditše tšhelete ya setšhaba ga o sana selo ye le beilego le išitše kua go disaster gore lo e kry-a ka kua pele le tšere tšhelete ue la re e ya go disaster funds le tseba gabotse gore le ilo e kokona le yona le ilo e tsenelela a re tsebe gore nagone jale ke bolela ka nakwane mo mesong ke letse ke rometse le yena premier ka re premier le išitse dikgeregere go alongside wena le ntate Ratšhweni gore bo Ratšhweni tseba gore batho gone jale kua Blouberg a bana ditsela a ba tsebe gore ba tsamaeng o epile noka kwa dikgeregere tša gago o do epa noka ye nngwe ya Mogalakwena jale batho e ke dutse ka nakwane a bana tša go ja ba palela ke go ritšha dipetele ba palela ke ya ditleliniking ka mmeso le o dileng le premier le bile le re lena le tla tšeela bo Mapoulo constituency ya Blouberg yela constituency le ya tseba gore ga bo yona ke kae e tseba botse gore ke bokhiboding e šetše rena morago tšhelantše le di ya kua ke mmantwantwane e le re lefa ditirelo le dia mantwantwane e re le lefa batho dijo le utswa tše dingwe ke ka fao le etao le botsa batho le re one family one loaf banna la dia bana ba borena tšona tše la re one family one loaf ke dilo mantše le di diago jale re a ipiletša go lena gore mantwantwane a le a ralokang ka monta batho ba ka se sa le voutela re le botša mo re emo gore le nape le khisa di-vote tša batho ba borena batho ba lapišitšwe ke lena le dilo tšeo le ba dirago tšona bjale ka mo re a le botša gore le yona GBV le re le tlhokometše batho tlogelang go fa batho dibeile mo rena re tsena gona re le EFF ka mo batla le botša le ka mo Mogalakwena le magistrate re methela re botšolela kefa monna o dutše ka tronko ka baka la pressure ya rena re le EFF jalo mo beng ANC le seo lena le re batho ba o kata bana ba tšwele pele o kata bana jale ke mmušo wa mohutamang o e le gore tshwanetse re o tlhomphe ka nako yane a re tlo tlhompha mmušo o e le gore o lemelela gore basadi le bana ba katiwe dikata one di kitime le megotha ke bolela ka dikata one tše e le gore ANC e a dume a se tšwe ke fetša ke re ba re
o na le order. Can we listen to the order?
Thanks very much, Honorable Speaker. Speaker, I rise on a point of order. The chair makes a point that the speaker, in fact, makes a point that the government of the ANC promotes raping of women and killing of women. Is that parliamentary, Speaker?
Honorable Mapoulo, they are saying their political party, they don't have a policy to kill children, and so can we allow Honorable Mapoulo to respond first?
On a point of order, Speaker, on you. Thank you very much. The Speaker raised a point of order. You must make a ruling. It was not a question to Honorable Mapoulo. He was raising a point of order. Then you must rule. No, he can't answer anything because there was no question directed at Honorable Mapoulo. That's what I wanted to correct. Thank you very much.
Okay. If you want my ruling, it's the political party that you are referring that they are killing children and raping. They are saying they are not doing that, and they expect you to withdraw on that.
le mmotša ntšhe merunyana ka ditsebeng ka gore yena o bolela setsudu a kwešiše Sepedi because nna se ke bolele polelo ye yena e bolelang nna polelo e ke e bolelang Speaker ke gore mmušo wa ANC o fa batho dibeile ba e le gore ba katile bana bjale ka gore jale batho ba sepela megoteng ke ka fao ke bolelang se a se bolelang sewe ke tša gae nna tša ka ke gore mmušo wa ANC o fa dikata one dibeile and batho ba ba khumanang dibeile ba kitima megoteng ko withdrawing ona mowe ko withdraw yana ke eng ntho ke tshwanetse withdraw se ka ntshenya tša nako ke na le 22 minutes ke sa tloya mamo so e le gore ke a o thatšiša ngwana mmaedi o thatša gone jale ke nyako go bolela ka magoši ya rena tobela ya no mara ba se ka disrupt. You must protect me.
Okay. No, thanks very much, Honorable Speaker. We just wanted to raise, to caution honorable members that some of undertones are unparliamentary, but also it shouldn't be ANC government. We have executive, legislature, and judiciary. Let it be recorded in this house that the honorable member is saying that the judiciary is corrupt. Then we'll be fine, Chair.
Can we take the matter up outside the sitting and allow Honorable Mapule to proceed?
Thank you very much, Doctor. Monna ntšha eme mo a bolela dikgowa sa ke kwešiše thibane ditsebe jale gona bore monama na re bolele sekgowa re bolela polelo ya batho ba bo rena
Akere sekgoba se se bolelo sa se tsebe.
Ara o nyake sa o kopolla. Ke ga o se kwešiša.
Honorable Mapole and Honorable Manama, can we please have an order and avoid a dialogue? And Honorable Mapole, don't address Honorable Manama, address the presiding officer. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Dr. Makurupecha, our speaker. Ke bolela gore rena re bolela polelo tše di gore di hlwekile re tlhompha maaparanko a rena ge e le gore mmušo wo wa ANC o tlhompha maaparanko le tshwantse gore e premier a tlo fetola temana ye a bolele nnete gore o ile o fa maaparanko ntho e re bitša gore ke medical aid gore ge ba tsena le bona ba berekiše permit gore ba tsena ko dipetere ba kry-e phodišo e botse and-e le ditsela tša bona ga a tlo fetola mo a re botse gore ditsela tša o ya kua maaparankong di tlo sepela ga botse le gore taba e ae ya o se fele a kopana o sa tšo kopana le bona maloba re kgopela gore o tswele pele o kopana le bona ba se ka kopana le bioscope honorable makamo ka gore kua go honore makamo ba bona bioscope wena motho o mongwe o ka kopana le bona ka metlha le metlha o tshwantse o bana le lenaneo la o kopana le maaparanko ba rena o sa tšo kopana le bona malobanyana mo fela ka gore o kwele gore ba balabala bjale premier nna re kgopela gore honorable premier ke kgopela gore o die lenaneo le lengwe la o tlhompha maaparanko a rena se ka la gana mopremier le dumele honorable gore nnete le thomile o bona gore ke bohlokwa o kopana le maaparanko bjale seo tshwantse o se dia lenaneo la gore maaparanko a rena a tlhomphiwe o kopane le bona gafetša-gapetša tše tša dikgerekgere gore le bolele gore ditsela di kgalentše di senyegile re na le moporogo a sale a agiwa ka 1930 something a sa eme ao di ake ntate ratšhweni le mengwaga e mebedi a se a tšene a di gogola ke meetse le ditsela di gogola ke meetse ke ka fao ke rago lena kere a re togeleng go dia pekete mabula ka ditšhelete tša setšhaba le dia pekete mabula ka ditšhelete tše tša setšhaba le tshwanela ke gore ge e le mantwane jale o fele ke ka fao ke le botša gore le dinapile le dilaeletse le divoutu tša batho e le tšwela pele ka lona lenaneo lana le rena re fethile ba o bolela dinnete ntate le honorable ka moka speaker le e tsebe temane gore rena re fethile botse re bolela dinnete le bile a re tšhabe o bolela nnete le bile a re phophorowene ka gore lena nka re mo le tlisile o phophoroa le yane ya agriculture ya honorable kekana ke re wa thunya lerole ka yona o na le motho ba re ke mpete collector re nyaka o tseba re na di-allegation tše ke nnete na re nyaka gore o di kwešiše mmakekana honorable a se taba ya gore re a raloka re bolele thaloko mo re bolela ka tšhelete tša setšhaba tšeo le gore le a di senya le setšhaba se theeleditše gore ye re to išala morago ye taba ye nna bjano ka gore yalo kere ke a le leboga fighters e re le ile la kgona go dia the state of province sa nnete e seng tšeo dibaesekopo tše ntše re di theeleditše le gore go toa gone jale ge re tshwara lekgotlathera molao re boya gona mo ka gore le nyaka go ta mo le nyakang toropong ka gore le ga nno go aga moago kua toropong thobela
Thank you so much, honorable members. We'll now proceed to item, the next member who's coming to the podium, Honorable MEC Umati Tereke, MEC for the Department of Economic Development, Environment and Tourism. Honorable MEC.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I just wanted the House to note that the ANC caucus has learned from the EFF. They are clapping for their speaker. Thank you very much.
Over to you, Honorable. It's not a point of order. Can you allow Honorable MEC to proceed? MEC.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, Dr. Makoma Mapurupeche, the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Tibuko Mamrovela, the Premier of our province, Dr. Popira Matuba, fellow members of the Executive, the Deputy Chief Whip and Whipari, honorable members of the opposition parties, members in the public gallery, ladies and gentlemen. Pockets of our humanity possesses a peculiar inclination to debate what is otherwise widely accepted as a fact. It is for this reason, Honorable Speaker, that I wish to momentarily to adopt a slightly more academic posture in engaging the observation advanced by our Premier, Dr. Popira Matuba, during her State of the Province address. The simple fact is that Limpopo's economy is advancing. One of the clearest indicators of this progress is real GDP growth, which remains the most reliable measure on whether an economy is expanding its productive capacity, attracting investment, creating conditions conducive for employment. Over the recent years, Limpopo has steadily strengthened its position within national economy. Today, as we speak, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier, the province has emerged as the fourth largest contributor to South Africa's GDP, accounting to approximately 7.8% of the national economy. Such progress does not occur by accident, honorable members. It is a product of deliberate policy interventions, strategic planning, sustained political commitment aimed at unlocking productive potential of our province. Honorable Speaker, investment mobilization remains the cornerstone of Limpopo's economy strategy. In 2025, under the theme Limpopo Rising, Africa's New Investment Frontier, the province hosted Limpopo Investment Conference. The outcomes were significant. The conference secured 47 investment pledges valued at 170 billion, exceeding the initial target of 120. However, honorable members, any student of development economics will remind us that investment pledges represents only the first stage of development cycle. The true measure of success lies in translating those pledges into operational projects that create jobs, expand industry, and transform communities. For this reason, Honorable Premier, the directive that you made that the department must engage intensified post-conference investment engagements, remove regulatory bottlenecks, strengthen progress monitoring mechanism is being implemented by our department. Honorable Speaker, I I heard some of the members saying that you put target and that targets are not achieved. I was asking myself whether they are staying in Limpopo or somewhere else. Because those who are staying in Limpopo, they know that all the targets that you have set, Honorable Premier, you were able to achieve. On industrialization through special economic zones, industrialization remains central to the economic transformation agenda outlined by the Premier. And you said to us, Honorable Premier, we are giving you as the department to put up an action plan that addresses all the bottlenecks in the special economic zone. The Musina Makhado Special Economic Zone continues to make progress as the strategic industrial development initiative. Following the completion, as you directed us, Honorable Premier, on the transfer of land processes, I hear there are some issues on the land processes, but what we know from the department is that all the regulatory processes were followed, Honorable Premier. The Department of Finance, Department of Public Works, Department of Land Reform has agreed and given Musina municipality the land, and which has been given to us as the SEZ to implement. Following that completion, work is now underway on critical bulk infrastructure. It was not a bioscope, it's bulk infrastructure that is underway in the Musina Makhado SEZ on water and water purification facilities. A phased and coordinated development approach will ensure integrated infrastructure delivery. We must indicate to this honorable house that during the beginning of the financial year, we'll be having 5 projects in the Musina Makhado SEZ. As we speak, we have 2 that are working, and we want to ensure that 5 projects are already on the ground. In addition, the designation of Fitako Mutubatse Special Economic Zone has been completed and is only awaiting final cabinet approval. And Honorable Premier, we are not waiting for the designation. As we speak, bulk infrastructure is already being processed and working on the ground. The preparatory work is already underway in the Fitakomu zone, and as a hub for green manufacturing and emerging technologies, including opportunities in vanadium battery production and hydrogen energy development. These special economic zones represent some of the most significant industrial initiatives in the province, with the potential to attract foreign direct investment, stimulate advanced manufacturing, and integrate local producers into global value chain. Honorable Speaker, I heard the Limpopo Mining and Mineral Beneficiation Academy was not mentioned in the SOPA. But I'm sure because it's an academy and it has got to do with the issues of academy, sometimes we might not hear because it requires that you go through that process of academic qualification. Honorable Premier, strategic intervention aimed at strengthening the province's industrial future is the establishment of Limpopo Mining and Mineral Beneficiation Academy. As you directed, Honorable Premier, a multi-stakeholder steering committee has been established to guide development of the academy, with collaboration between government, industry, and training institutions, including Mining Qualification Authority, the Department of Higher Education and Training, the University of Johannesburg, the University of Limpopo, University of Venda, and all the TVET colleges, including Skukune TVET College. The academy has already started the process of making sure that all the priority programs are streamlined. And we are going to start, Honorable Premier, with the following programs in the academy in the following financial year: mining operations and engineering, metallurgy and mineral processing, digital and automated mining. All these universities, including the University of Johannesburg, University of Limpopo, they are busy with the curriculum and recruitment of the students who are going to start. Honorable Premier, we are not waiting for the building for the mining academy, because you don't need a building to start a university. The Skukune TVET College is there, we'll be staying there, and when we finalize all this curriculum, the students' intake will start. The people of Skukune are going to see the mining academy in the next financial year. Recruitment of learners from the mining communities have already been prioritized. And we are working together with the mining community so that the issue of mining academy, we don't have to wait for the building. Buildings are there. Skukune TVET is there, and we are going to start. On enterprise development and SMME, we must indicate, Honorable Premier, that LEADER, as you directed them, they have already started working on the issue of SMME development. Catalytic projects, you have directed us to work on the Polokwane International Convention Center, and we must assure this Honorable House that the work has already started on ensuring that the Polokwane International Convention Center is a reality. In addition, the planned logistic and cargo hub in Polokwane will strengthen the province's role as a strategic gateway to regional trade and connectivity. These projects, Honorable Premier, will further reinforce Limpopo's position with both national and continental landscape. As I move towards conclusion, because I see, Honorable Speaker, my time is moving, we must indicate that economic trajectory of Limpopo is increasingly shaped by policy choices and political will. And we say to you, Honorable Premier, mushumo ka o shabe zwanḓa, hu khou shumiwa, ri khou livhuwa.
Rolibuwa, Honorable Chitareke Matibe. We shall now move to Honorable Wilson Evelyn. You have 7 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. A well-known intellectual and lifelong activist for non-racialism and equality, Dr. Dashani Stokes, famously said, "If your actions do not live up to your words, you have nothing to say." And, Honourable Speaker, the Democratic Alliance is concerned that the 2-hour-long SOPA contained little action but recurring promises through ambitious projects, while the poorest of the poor remain without basic services like water, basic health, quality education, reliable and constant electricity, and of course, the possibility of jobs. Honourable Speaker, Premier, you are deluded if you liken your infrastructure projects, or rather lack thereof, to Marxist-Leninist economic principles. Rehabilitating local government services, ensuring reliable clean water supply, rebuilding provincial capacity and maintaining infrastructure, which will benefit all our people and not only entrepreneurs and cadres, which is what the Marxist-Leninist economy actually teaches us. and reminds us that that is clearly the ANC mandate. Party first, the poor later. We need services and development that benefit the working class and the poorest of the poor, not just the connected few. The future of economic development in Limpopo depends fundamentally on functioning municipalities. While the Premier has promised decisive action, this will require less talking and confronting failures within her own party and administration. A newspaper headline highlighting Polokwane municipality's 400 million financial crisis as the AG exposed wasteful expenditure should have the Premier and her MEC of Kosta hiding their faces in shame. Polokwane is just one of the municipalities in this horrific state. Tabazimbi faces a crisis just over a year into their new term. Fetogomo has now lost 7 court cases over illegal suspension at the taxpayer's account, and Lepeli and Kumpi is trying to pull the same stunt. It is shocking. Until municipalities are optimally functional, meaningful investment and sustained economic growth will remain out of reach. And paying exorbitant fees to consultants to improve audit outcomes on paper does not equate to improved service delivery. Honourable Speaker, we agree with the Premier that our people must have access to water. However, in 2023, the South African Human Rights Council issued 26 recommendations for the water service authorities and oversight authorities. Costa and Premier were warned in the report, and this should have served as a wake-up call to this government to accelerate the pace to ensure that all the people of Limpopo have access to water. They are seriously in contempt of the Water Act. It is a criminal offence. A sluggish start to your Hinyamwiti Fridays, which was punted as a game changer, with the promise of a new water project every Friday in your previous SOPA, is a gross understatement. 6 months ago, I personally went to Guyana to see for myself what the millions were spent on. Clearly a lot of talk and very little action. The poor workmanship and visible incompetency was shocking and heartbreaking, as the majority of households in Homo 14A village remain without water. Speaker, the Premier's grandiose lip service paid to Mopani District as a water service authority besmirches the suffering endured by the residents of Siandani village outside Guyana, who have to share water from the Ratavi River with animals, or pay up to 500 Rand a month for 750 litres of water. And the comment is disingenuous, considering that most villages in the district do not have access to water, and that there is now a moratorium on development in Hoedspruit due to Mopani District's inability to provide water infrastructure to this vibrant tourism hub. Let me not start with Vembi District Municipality and the hundreds of requests to sort out the water that have been submitted to you without a response for over a year. The recent floods exposed another uncomfortable truth. Years of governance failure left provincial and municipal infrastructure so degraded that it had little resilience to withstand the rains. The floods struck an already weakened system, and many municipalities remain incapable of responding effectively despite timeous warnings. Health in the province continues to be underserved and under-resourced. The Premier failed to highlight the real state of healthcare, including the lack of equipment, poorly maintained infrastructure, and high vacancy rates. It is taking up to 6 months to get scan results back from Mankweng Hospital, leaving patients very ill because doctors are unable to treat them without those results. A DA councillor delivered a baby in his car on the night of the big storm in Guyana because the staff at Tomo Clinic refused to open the gates. What a disgrace. While we welcome the Premier's commitment to addressing gender-based violence, the reality is deeply concerning. Limpopo has the highest per capita rate of rape cases against children in the country. This demands a serious and sustained response. As the Democratic Alliance, we will hold the Premier and the ANC-led executive to account. Honourable Premier, the same Dr. Dashani Stokes said, truth is hard, propaganda is cheap. Let us serve the people of Limpopo and not our egos. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Wilson. You are the first speaker that goes beyond their time. I will now move on to Honorable Nechi Pepe Katuchero. Thank you.
Thank you, the Deputy Speaker, the Deputy Chief Whip and the Whippery, Honorable Premier, members of the Executive Council, members of the Provincial Legislature, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me take the opportunity to thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, for affording me this moment to participate in the debate of the State of the Province address that we heartily welcome as a true reflection of the state of our province, Limpopo, united in its diversity. It gives me great pleasure, therefore, Deputy Speaker, to stand here and declare for all to know that South Africa of today, for which many sacrificed in many ways, including with their lives, looks far much better than South Africa of yesteryears. This is despite the ongoing onslaught and misinformation by our distractors to ensure that the democratic gains of the last 30 years of relentless struggle and our sovereignty are reversed. So it is therefore crucial that together we defend our hard-won freedom. The ANC calls on all the people of our country to stand in solidarity with one another and affirm that our democracy is not for sale and our nation's sovereignty will never be compromised. This we must do as we celebrate 30 years of our democracy and shared value of justice, inequality, human dignity, and constitutionalism. We urge our people to rally behind the ANC, their movement, to defend this sovereignty and accompanying democratic gains. The ANC call on all of us to put our energy and creativity and find new ways of doing things better and differently. Deputy Speaker, these new ways and means of doing things better and differently are at the heart of the Premier's State of the Province address, which was presented in this August House by the esteemed Premier, Comrade Dr. Popira Matuba, on the 5th March 2026. The pronouncement made during the address reaffirmed the resolve of the 7th administration to achieve the anticipated 2024 election manifesto priorities, which focus on transforming the economy and creating jobs. Deputy Speaker, our province bled 1,000 wounds occasioned by the recent West floods since the year 2000. It is, however, progressing towards its healing. Sadly, the dark clouds of despair are lifting, giving way to a season of hope. Honorable Premier, no one can dare say and challenge us when we say that we are at work to build a better life for all. This national disaster, as declared and declassified by the President, marked an escalation
of a rapidly deteriorating situation that was beyond provincial response capacities. It therefore calls for a united front modeled along the United Democratic Front to confront it and restore the lives and dignity of our people. It requires unity in action to organize and coordinate relief, reconstruction, rehabilitation efforts to restore critical infrastructure and service that were severely disrupted and affected by the floods. That we experienced mass destruction of road infrastructure, some bridges wiped away, inflicting serious devastation to our people. We welcome the additional funds that will be allocated to the Provincial Disaster Management Contingency Fund to support the urgent recovery and the rehabilitation intervention to deal with the disaster. We specifically welcome the additional 17 roads infrastructure projects that the esteemed Premier announced during the SOPA, together with 21 road upgrade and 22 maintenance projects currently underway. This will help us to gradually reduce our backlog in roads in construction and maintenance, which currently stand at 13,500 kilometers. These projects, Deputy Speaker, together with other infrastructure development and reconstruction projects, will help the province to create more jobs for our people and reduce unemployment. We commend the Premier for achieving a decrease in unemployment rate, having recorded a decrease of 28.2% in this regard during the last quarter of 2025. At the same time, unemployment increased by 64,000 during this period. This makes our province the fourth largest employer in the country. We are pleased that women and the youth, who constitute the majority in our province, benefited the most in this regard. We urge the Premier to ensure that all appointed service providers prioritize employment of locals during implementation of these projects. The ANC committed itself to sustain 2.5 million work opportunities by delivering public service and goods. We must use the reconstruction and the development opportunities brought about by the recent floods to contribute to this national effort. Madam Deputy Speaker, Madam Speaker, also worth noting and commending is the process to rename some of the government infrastructure and the buildings after luminaries, heroes and the heroines of our struggle. This process is anchored on and guided by our resolve to foster national reconciliation, promote social cohesion and inclusivity, healing, unity, and national building, all of which are embedded in our democratic constitution. This work, Honorable Premier, of renaming our buildings and infrastructure are after eminent persons did not start now. You started it when you were still the MEC of Health, naming the two buildings of the department after two esteemed revolutionaries, Fidel Castro and his compatriot and comrade, Ernesto Che Guevara. It is therefore not surprised that you are continuing with this work. Madam Speaker, the ANC support and urge the Premier never to tire in this and other noble causes of reconciliation and the unity building. The ANC welcomes the leadership in this process of creating and building monument for our heroes, heroines, and historical figures through physical structures. These are memories to our luminaries and their deeds and their contributions to nation building and should as such be given prominence. It is our firm belief that this will reignite and reinvigorate the Limpopo Provincial Geographic Names Committee and other relevant statutory bodies to do its work and ensure that place names reflect our country's democratic, cultural, and linguistic heritage. We hope buildings such as the Limpopo Central Hospital and the Limpopo Theatre, currently under construction, will be named accordingly and properly. We must continue the journey towards a better life for all, with equal opportunities for all South Africans, particularly the people of Limpopo province, now and into the future. I thank you.
Honorable Abu Nechipepe Katu, thank you so much. We will now proceed to call all jump. Okay. Then we'll now call Honorable Wesley Bongani Maringa.
The Honorable Speaker, Dr. Mokoma Purgecha, the Deputy Speaker, the Honorable Premier, Dr. Popera Matua, members of the Executive Council, Chief Whip in his absentia, and his deputy and the whippery. Let me greet the gallery as well. Honorable Speaker, today we debate one amongst the many progressive SOPA that has been delivered by the Premier of Limpopo. And as we do so alongside the celebration of 30 years of our constitution in South Africa, the most progressive constitution that we have ever produced in the whole world. As I take you through in the debate in terms of what the Premier has addressed when she delivered the SOPA, I want to draw the attention of honorable members and the gallery and the committees into the issues of our inclusive participation in the economy of this province. Our government has done quite very well since we took over in the 30 years of our leadership as the ANC to see to it that we change the ties around in terms of opening the ways and the space and the rules and the game plan when it relates to the issues of economic participation. Honorable Speaker, the province has successfully shown growth in terms of the economy of our province, and there's proof to that effect. This says to us, it means we are in good leadership as the people of this Limpopo. It means our Premier and Executive Council is doing exactly what is supposed to be done in respect of implementation of the policies that are supposed to deliver the benefits of the well-being of our people in this particular province. Honorable Speaker, for us to fight against the challenges of poverty, deliver serious changes in terms of economic participation, we need to invest on rural economy and also invest a lot on what we call township economy. And for us to achieve that, it means our institutions of governance in respect of economic development, Honorable Matibe, leader must be given sufficient resources to be able to provide the necessary funding that is required to grow the SMMEs. We need to invest sufficient resources to see to it that young people who have since graduated, who have not been absorbed by the system, and young people who are graduates from the TVET sector are taken through rigorous, strong programs that are going to prepare them to venture into entrepreneurship without any difficulties. And we also have a responsibility to develop policies that are going to find markets for these immediate graduates who have already started to run their own businesses. And this is a task we must perform and deliver without fail as a government of the day deployed by the African National Congress. Honorable Speaker, in our battle to change the situation in the country, particularly here in the province of Limpopo, there are areas where we need to do well. And one of the critical areas where we must do well is the introduction of the quotas, particularly in the hospitality business, in the hospitality space. We've got a lot of undocumented people who are coming from our neighboring countries who are employed in that space. And the reason why they are employed in that space is because employers are very reluctant to hire our people on the basis of the knowledge of our people about the rules of the game in respect of payment. So what do? They opt to employ a lot of these undocumented people
and pay them meager wages. And that space, government must introduce what I will term the quotas. We must bring about the quota system in that space. The same thing must apply in the security cluster. We must introduce the quota system. We need to know that in the value chain of all people who are employed there, at least 75% of the people working there who are serving us food when we go to restaurants are young people from this province, so that they also change their livelihood. Honorable Speaker, as we marshal the province towards progressive success, we need to appreciate the fact that not everyone who's sent to a space where English is engaged and discussed and progress is debated has got the necessary equipment intellectually to rise to the occasion. It is for this reason, this House must not be shocked that there will be other speakers who, instead of debating SOPA, will want to take all of us to a laboratory to do some paternity testing, which we are not ready for. It is for this reason that we've got to call as well, Honorable Speaker, we must call for an immediate urgent training, a workshop or an induction, so that these honorable members of this House are taught effectively about the difference between the spheres of government. That we've got the legislature, which is ourselves here, we've got the judiciary, which is the other people who are presiding over criminal issues, and we've got the executive. These teachings are very important because society is watching our discussions. They want to believe that whatever is said, whether it's hogwash or misplaced particular statements, we are going to mislead society. We need to educate members of this House to know very well which issues to raise when they are on the podium. Honorable Chair, Honorable Speaker, I would have done a mistake if I don't discuss the issues of water, so that I minimize these unnecessary statements which are raised on a daily basis. You see, the crisis of water is a national crisis. But that does not mean we must then abdicate our responsibility. It's not a substitute for our work. What we need to do, as we continue to fight to make sure we deliver clean, drinkable water to our people, one of the critical things we need to do is to check the location of our dams. Are our dams receiving sufficient water from the streams that we have in the province? And I'll give you a typical example. We've got many streams, Honorable Speaker, when there's rain. As we celebrate rain, the unfortunate part of the water does not go to the dams that we have constructed as a province. Now we need to find and develop strategies to find a way to redirect some of the streams towards exactly where our dams are located. The last component I want to engage on, Honorable Speaker, as my second end. Yes, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, Honorable Speaker, can I finish, my friend, please? Can I finish? Now, Honorable Speaker, I think we must appreciate that. I think we must appreciate the fact that not every child that goes to school has got the mental capacity to be taught. It also accounts for what you're observing during the course of our debate. Honorable Speaker, I want to end by speaking about infrastructure development. The MEC for Public Works must understand the fact that for our economy to thrive very easily, it's also largely reliant on the transport system. I think, Honorable Speaker, in the interest of our listeners in the country, because we are viewed everywhere, I think they have now received a message as to where should they deposit their most trusted votes as and when we go to the local government elections. I bow out. Thank you.
Of water nationally. Thanks for confirmation that you can supply water nationally as the NC.
Thank you so much, Honorable. Thank you so much, Honorable Maringa. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Honorable members, Honorable members, honorable, honorable members, can we have order? Honorable Manama, Honorable Manama, I will request you from the whip party point of view to assist us, because if whips of political parties are not assisting us, this debate will degenerate. And I'm appealing with the whips of political parties to assist us, because the Premier is sitting here. She wants to listen to the debates. And there are people who are following us on social media. So if we make noise, they're not able to listen to the debate as they're supposed to. And I'm really pleading that let's make sure that we are able to give people who are debating an opportunity to debate accordingly. Honorable Lebo.
Thanks, Honorable Speaker. Just a reminder that we raised it here and the House agreed that we will permanently have sign language people. And that is denying our people an opportunity to interact with this House. Today, they are not here. During SOPA, you did so well. But lastly, just to check, ge a confirm gore metsi a gona ka moka ba e fa batho marotho bo gama so batho bo nwa eng re a leboga boditse setšhaba botse.
Honorable Lebogo, I must indicate that I'm not sure where the matter was discussed on sign language. If the Honorable Lebogo is raising a matter of sign language, we'll take it up. But we have not been having sign language on normal sittings of the legislature. We're only having the sign language on special occasions. Because as the legislature, we must procure that service. It's not like we have an in-house, which if members raise it, we accept it. It's something that we'll be able to take it up and see how that matter get resolved. And we appreciate that the matter has been raised and it has been noted. Can we now proceed, honorable members, in terms of the debates? We'll now allow Honorable Andre Moss to be the next one. And Honorable Moss, you have got 3 minutes for the debate.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier, esteemed members of the Executive Council, leaders of opposition parties, and members of this House and guests. Honorable Speaker, we acknowledge first the human pain behind the Premier's address. Limpopo floods did not only damage infrastructure, they shattered families, livelihoods, and basic dignity. The Premier reports 27 lives lost, more than 450 roads damaged, and over 3,500 households destroyed. They are not just numbers. They are funerals, broken homes, and communities cut off from the safety and services. But Speaker, sympathy alone does not rebuild the province. The Premier speaks of restoring dignity, allowing people to move freely and safely, and ensuring there is no space for corruption or floodpreneurs. These are strong words, yet we must ask, how is dignity restored when residents are too afraid to walk alone? When crime decides where people can go, and when family lives behind walls instead of living freely. The Premier points out the decrease in unemployment and to the province's contribution towards the GDP. But the reality is that poverty and poor service delivery still determines the daily existence of the residents of this province. Similarly, the lack of concrete support for commercial farmers amid the foot and mouth crisis is a serious shortcoming that threatens food security. Limpopo does not need stronger words, it needs stronger systems, clear plans, transparent procurement, measurable deadlines, effective policing, and consequences when government fails to deliver. It is not enough to declare no space for corruption. The real test is consequence management. Will there be criminal referrals, blacklisting, and contract terminations? Will officials who authorize irregular expenditure be removed from positions of power? Limpopo has heard anti-corruption speeches before, while the same pattern repeats under new slogans. Community sees it in real time. In Mokgepong, barely a month after a contractor finished a road, potholes began forming again. Yet that same contractor is now positioned for another tender. This is not rebuilding, that is recycling failure. Speaker, the Premier repeatedly branded every success as the product of an ANC-led government, as if the governing party only exists when things go right. But government is not a buffet where you only claim the dessert. So the standard must be the same. If the positives are ANC-led, then the failures are also ANC-led, because the same leadership has governed for years, appointed the decision makers, controlled procurement, and overseen municipalities. Leadership isn't taking the applause, it's taking the responsibility. Publishing the plan, naming who's accountable, fixing what's broken, and acting decisively when there is a failure. Agbare Speaker, Limpopo se mense verdien waardigheid nie as 'n woord nie, maar as 'n geleefde werklikheid. Veilige strate, ligte wat werk, begaanbare paaie, water wat vloei en 'n regering wat dien eerder as om toneel te speel. Ons sal enige beleid ondersteun wat meetbaar, deursigtig en doeltreffend is. Ons sal enige iets teenstaan wat agter slagspreuke skuif en aanspreeklikheid vermy. Want in Limpopo is 'n werklike toestand van die provinsie nie in 'n toespraak nie, maar in die strate, die krane, die paaie en die lewens van mense. I thank you.
Baie dankie. We will now proceed to Honorable William Chweni Malebana. Honorable Malebana, have 10 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, Dr. Makurumecha, thank you for the opportunity. Gratulmerisha Mutompei, Dr. Ramatuba, Premier of our province, the Deputy Chief Whip and your office, the Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Mapolo Mahabo, the Chairperson of Portfolio Committee and Standing Committees, Honorable members of the legislature, Badudi ba Limpopo, Kabupara, Watlompeyi Kamukawalengamo, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Speaker, Krata Utoma Kauleboa, Premier Warina, Dr. Ramatuba, for the forward-looking state of the province address, which acknowledges that we are all tributants of great river of pain, the last pain being the flood that have ravaged our people, but as well as a call by the Premier that, having acknowledged what we are and what we went through, she made a call of action for all of us with regard to making sure that Limpopo become a collective product, and all of us, we put our hands together in making sure that she succeeds in our work. I want to warn you, Premier, that you begin to enter into the terrain of people leadership that live with us today in the context of the future. And people who don't see that, who don't see very far, will always want to drag you down. Be careful to allow that to happen. Continue on articulating your vision and actions that you needed to deal with without sleeping on the problem. Because when you say you want action, when you say Diloli change, that was both an immediate call to rectify matters as well as a vision that now we begin to work and rectify all these things. And therefore, Limpopo cannot grow with growthless individuals who are sitting on past problems. It is important that we, all of us, put our hands on the deck. May I reiterate what you said in different way. It is true that health of our people here in Limpopo is a foundation. And that is true that illness is expensive and is robbing families of income and it deepens inequality. A healthy Limpopo is true, is a productive Limpopo.
and that health is a driver of growth, it is driver of dignity and economic development. As the ANC-led government prioritized the well-being of the people, which means or refers to the overall quality of life, health, and happiness of the individuals in the community. It draws as well from what the president, the former president, first one in South Africa, who said the following, as I quote, "Health cannot be a question of income, it must be a fundamental right," close quote. I testify here, Honorable Speaker, that the Central Academic Hospital project, which is reported to be at 52% to completion, will, without doubt, transform the landscape of the problem we have with regard to the specialist, because it's going to increase that specialized healthcare. This is not a rumor. We should call for all those who left Limpopo. That is about to happen. Prepare yourself to come back. Our clinicians will now provide an advanced care locally. Limpopo is moving forward. We have heard that recently the Mankweng Hospital have performed an operation, that of the conjoined twins. I'm talking about two babies born physically connected. They have received medical care, surgical care here in Limpopo. It is true that things have changed. It has never happened before. And of course, well, the Premier have articulated the investment in medical education, which is very critical to the problem related to our youth employment, but is as well about the Limpopo Medical School that must be constructed now and not tomorrow, because it will assist us in training doctors locally. And it will assist us to resolve problems that we talk about every day, about the scarcity we have, particularly with personnel in that sector. And in overall, it's not only going to assist us with healthcare system, it will also assist us in quality of education, because it provides evidence that is important to pay attention to education, but it also be part of health economy. It will give economic opportunities across the board, skills development across the board, and supports the youth. Well, this is about putting practice to what Oliver Tambo have advised us, that a nation that does not care for its young people does not deserve its future. As I close, but the important matter is for the youth to understand the worth of this intervention and begin to respond or to prepare to respond when the call comes, so that they are also counted in this development. We are strengthening the healthcare with the modern technology. And this is not just the technology. It's about provision of healthcare, as it was mentioned, that I cannot say because the time is running out. The infrastructure projects that are said to be completing and continuing to be implemented, and the moratorium on the building of new clinic that is lifted, is providing an opportunity and a catalyst for a number of partnership and collaboration. Amongst those collaboration is what the Premier have said about Hoshilbo and Venetia Mine with regard to the building of a clinic. But what am I saying as a theme? This is about improving healthcare or saving lives of our people. The Premier spoke about the improvement of the treatment of HIV, which is 99% retention on antiretroviral therapy. But what went, the effort that the department put in there was about mobilization and awareness, which was necessary. But the problem is that we must begin advocating and making people aware that when they are sick and they needed this therapy, it is about them. It is about Limpopo, it's about the productivity of Limpopo. We need them, and therefore they must be part of this, be honest and be part of that. Rural Health Matters program also transformed lives. Last year, it has performed 1,900 surgical procedures. And this is about restoring the lives of many, many, many people. And the WETI project reached 51,944. Of course, where there is good leadership and good governance, there is collaboration. Because this is a humanitarian outreach initiative that's supported by South African Military Health Services, which benefited 3 provinces, Sekhukhune, Waterberg, and Vembe district. Well, this progress that is guided by the African National Congress Manifesto, it goes with a number of challenges that the mention of this mega project in health will assist in blocking that. Problems such as healthcare or health workforce, which is a big issue in Limpopo, it will be a matter of the past. I want to take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, as my time is running out, to thank the Premier, to thank all of you, and call on you to be part of this journey of making sure that matters of health in Limpopo are in order. Thank you very much.
Ra leboga Dr. Malibana. You know, Dr. Malibana was just exactly his 10 minutes. We now move to the next speaker, Honorable Jack Cyril Velile. You have got 3 minutes, Honorable Member. Your 3 minutes starts now.
Thank you, Honorable Dr. Speaker, Premier, my colleagues, and the leader of the opposition, Honorable Mapolo, that I wished I could have contributed my 3 minutes to him, just that I was not consulted. And I can't talk to this speech for 3 minutes. When the speech of the Premier failed us for 2 hours. But again, we are all here at the behest of our people. Those are the most important leaders of this legislature. And I want to talk to my Premier with these few minutes I have. Knowing her, actually her background. Premier, you used to be a very good servant of the people while you were in Tenosa and the COSATU. You used to offer the poorest of the poor your medical services free of charge. Now, these speeches are going to derail you. I would advise you, Premier, before you prepare your SOPA speeches, you go through your portfolio committee's reports. That talks to exactly what we visit for in the sites. We said, Premier, the people of SEZ, Makado, and Musina, we must open a criminal case against the previous administration for squandering the funds that they were given that did nothing. And that has never happened. And again, Premier, you stood here last year. You promised the people of Limpopo in Wamati program. And that has never taken place. And they never got any report. That's why I'm saying these politics are going to mislead you. You used to work voluntarily executing perfect jobs. Now you are guided somewhere to do wrong things, which will not work in terms of protecting your dignity. Continue, Premier, doing a good work. We will applaud you. We are not here to fight as individuals. We are here for the betterness of the people of Limpopo. In conclusion, Premier, I know this statement, they are going to take it. Please don't buy our people bread. Give them jobs. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll now proceed to Honorable Nkakareng Christian Rakhwale. Honorable Member, you have 7 minutes. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Greetings to the Deputy Chief Whip, the Chair of Chairs, Deputy Chair of Chairs, the Honorable Premier, members of the Executive Council present here, Whip Harry, distinguished guests, fellow members, good morning. Tobel. Honorable Speaker, thank you for affording us the opportunity to deposit our views and those of millions of the residents of our state, of our province, on the address delivered so eloquently by our Honorable Premier. Today we rise in this August House to reflect on the SONA, a speech that not only assessed where we stand as a province, but more importantly, charted a clear and progressive path for the future of our people. The address by the Honorable Premier, Dr. Popira Matuba, was a bold affirmation that the government of Limpopo remains firmly committed to build a province that is inclusive, economically vibrant, and socially responsive to the needs of its citizens. It was an address grounded in realism, yet driven by hope and ambition for transformation. Honorable Speaker, one of the most encouraging aspects on the Premier's address was the clear focus on economic growth and job creation. Although the province has registered some semblance of decline when it comes to unemployment, the NC-led government will not rest on its laurels until we have a job in every household. It is only those who are unwilling to accept the reality that there have been positive green shoots in our province to build capacity and create meaningful job opportunities. Accordingly, emphasis was placed on unlocking opportunities within sectors such as agriculture, mining, tourism, and infrastructure development, demonstrate a government that understands the economic strengths of our people. By prioritizing these sectors, the Premier has reaffirmed the potential of Limpopo to become a key economic hub, not only within South Africa, but within the broader Southern African region. This government will leverage on the various sectors to heighten economic reach and lift our people out of poverty. The commitment to strengthening agriculture is particularly important. Our fertile land and hardworking farmers remains the backbone of rural livelihoods. Investment in agro-processing, farmer support programs, and agricultural infrastructure will ensure that this sector continues to grow, create jobs, and enhance food security for our communities. We should continue to support farmers affected by the foot and mouth disease. This should be done efficiently to protect food security and preserve livelihood. And I know MEC Kekana, already the work has been done on the ground. Our farmers support programs should be rolled out indiscriminately to support everyone from Vembe to Mopani to Skukune and Waterberg, including those in the Capricorn district. Agriculture has become a lifeblood of our economy and many local economies across the province, subsistence farmers also need and deserve support from government. Honorable members, yeah, technology is dealing with me. Yeah. As some, yeah, that's why Honorable Mahwai always bring his papers is because of this kind of things. Today, I'm really affected by the, yeah. You are going to behave. Yeah, the next speakers must make sure they bring their documents as well. Equally progressive was the focus on infrastructure development. The Premier highlighted the importance of improving road networks, expanding access to water, and strengthening energy infrastructure. These are not merely development projects, they are catalysts for economic opportunity, service delivery, and dignity for our people. The trail of destruction left by the recent devastating floods has reversed much of the work done by government to improve road networks and create traveling convenience for our people. Sadly, this devastation claimed lives of innocent people whose only sin was to try and go on with their lives. People of Vembe and Mopani are still reeling with shock on the wake of the floods and triggered the national government to declare a state of disaster. Honorable Speaker, we are comforted by the decisive measures taken by the provincial government to build infrastructure and restore roads and bridges swept away by those unforgiving floods. The Premier will lead the program as outlines in the State of the Province address. As a matter of fact, when roads are built, communities are connected. When water flows, livelihoods are restored. When electricity reaches homes and businesses, opportunities expand. The vision presented by the Premier recognizes that infrastructure development is fundamental to unlocking the full potential of our province. There can never be any progressive economic activities without reliable infrastructure. The Premier also demonstrated strong commitment to education and youth empowerment. Our young people represent the future of Limpopo, and it is therefore encouraging to see targeted programs that aim to improve school infrastructure, support skills development, and expand opportunities for young people entering the labor market. And Honorable Premier must indicate, as mandated by your good self and the Honorable Speaker, together with Honorable Maringa, we traverse the institutions of high learning in the province, together with the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education. And I must tell you, the opportunities that are in the TVET colleges, we might need to reflect on them, because I think to a certain extent, we might be missing an opportunity. But I'm happy, Honorable MEC Mabonguluruli, the TVET colleges have indicated that they are ready and prepared to collaborate with our technical high schools in the province to make sure that they get that, because most of the time we do not have the infrastructure that they have. They are ready to avail their infrastructure for our technical high schools to go and learn there. Investing in education is investing in the long-term prosperity of our province. By prioritizing skills development and training, government is preparing the youth. Yeah, I can see, Honorable Speaker, my time is gone. But let me take this opportunity and indicate that the address delivered by the Honorable Premier Ramatuba gives us reason to believe that this future is not distant dream, but a realistic and achievable goal. I thank you.
Raleboga, Raleboga, Raleboga. Thank you so much. We'll now call upon Honorable Frederick Jacob Smale.
Honorable Speaker, please. No, thanks very much, Honorable Speaker. I'm not necessarily disrupting Honorable Semale, but as the Wipari, we are noting something which is an anomaly, whereby when other honorable members, when Comrade Honorable Mapolo leaves earlier, he will always come to the Wipari and say, I'm going to leave. But others, after presentation, they just leave. We wanted this House to note it because they did not get the permission to do so. Thank you.
You want to respond? Okay. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Good morning, Honourable Premier, and members of the Executive, Honourable members.
Honorable Deputy Chief Whip, I must apologize. I've received an apology from Honorable Jack Velile that he will request to leave. He has got an urgent matter to attend to after his presentation. So the note came to me, and I might not have raised it with you. I'm not sure if there's any other person. But with Honorable Small, Honorable Velile, there was that apology that was sent to me. Oh, yeah. With Moss, I don't have an apology. Thanks. We'll note that. Yeah. Over to you, Honorable Small.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The Democratic Alliance acknowledges the slight improvement in Limpopo's economic outlook and the broader national recovery beginning to take shape under the Government of National Unity, in which the Democratic Alliance is a principal partner. Investor confidence is beginning to recover, and there are early signs of economic stabilization. But the question we must ask today is simple. What does this mean for the people of Limpopo? The Premier has pointed out with some pride to Limpopo's recent economic performances. Yet this modest improvement will do little to change the harsh reality that nearly half of Limpopo's working age population remains excluded from employment and meaningful economic participation. According to the expanded definition of unemployment, 46% of Limpopo's working age population has stopped looking for work altogether. Honourable Speaker, when half of the province's working age population has stopped looking for work, it is not simply an economic challenge, it is a social emergency. The statistic alone should remind us that the real crisis in Limpopo is not simply economic growth, it is jobs. If we are to improve people's lives and unlock the potential of every citizen in Limpopo, urgent reform is required in a way this province is governed. And let us be honest, the ongoing economic and employment crisis we face today is a result of decades of failed ANC governance and consequences of which continue to permeate our provincial departments, municipalities and state-owned entities. Honourable Speaker, the Premier spoke extensively about investment conferences, investment pledges, and Limpopo becoming an investment destination. The Democratic Alliance welcomes any initiative aimed at attracting investment to the province. Investment is critical if we are to grow the economy and create jobs. But the real question remains, where are the jobs that are supposed to follow these announcements? Announcements and investment pledges alone do not create employment. Good governance, policy certainty, and implementation do. The Makado Special Economic Zone, proclaimed in 2017, is a case in point. Nearly a decade later, this SEZ has not created a single direct job. Instead, the project has generated environmental concerns, governance controversies, and endless promises of investment that have yet to materialize. When the zone was first proclaimed, 22,000 jobs were promised. Nearly 10 years later, not one of those promised jobs has been materialized. Today, we must ask, where are those jobs? The 1 billion rand allocated towards Limpopo 2 economic zones must translate into tangible economic outcomes. Our struggling provincial economy deserves nothing less. For these reasons, the Democratic Alliance believes that the MMSEZ requires fundamental reconceptualization. The Vembe region is one of the most environmentally and culturally significant landscapes in South Africa. Its comparative advantage lies not in becoming another heavy industrial zone, but in leveraging its conservation as its agricultural potential and tourism economy. A developmental model that prioritizes conservation, tourism, and agriculture would create far more sustainable jobs and long-term economic value than one dependent on extractive heavy industry. The failure of the MMSEZ is not an isolated one. It reflects a broader pattern of poor governance and mismanagement across Limpopo state-owned entities. The Democratic Alliance has repeatedly raised concerns about fruitless and wasteful expenditure, weak accountability, and poor oversight in several provincial entities. Entities such as GNT, GOL, and ROL illustrates this problem. The collapse of GNT transport in particular is a direct result of government's failure to act when it needed to. Once the pride of Limpopo, GNT generated revenue, provided essential public transport services across the province. Today, however, it has become an entity dependent on governments, bailouts, and outsourced service providers rather than functioning public transport company that contributes to economic activity. This is not the result of bad luck. It is a result of years of poor governance and the lack of accountability. Speaker, the Democratic Alliance also calls on the Premier to urgently address the rapid escalation of illegal mining across the province. Illegal mining is threatening communities, undermining lawful economic activity, and causing serious environmental damage. In many areas, it has reached a state of lawlessness that can no longer be ignored. Government must work together with national law enforcement agencies and local communities to develop and coordinate strategy to restore the rule of law. Agriculture remains one of the most important sectors of Limpopo's economy and key source employment in rural communities. Effective management of foot and mouth disease remains critical for the stability of livestock in this industry. The rollout of the largest ever vaccine program under the GNU is welcome, but vaccination alone will not solve this problem. The Provincial Department of Agriculture must go further by ensuring effective animal movement control under enforcement measures to prevent further outbreaks in concert with all other appropriate national, provincial, and local government entities. Proper movement control and enforcement measures to prevent further outbreaks is non-negotiable. I thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you so much, Honorable Small. We'll now proceed to Honorable Bella Constance Kupa Mabuza. Honorable Kupa Mabuza, she has got 7 minutes to the debate. Over to you, Honorable Ma'am.
Thank you, Honorable Dr. Makrupecha, our speaker. At least na ke tshwere phone e ka nkga ka ntšha. I will open my phone. Honorable Madam Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Mamrobela, our Honorable Premier, Dr. Popi Ramatuba, the Chief Whip in absentia, and the Deputy Chief Whip, Honorable Kanyani Malume Avana, the Chair of Chair, Honorable Mokoni, and the Deputy Chair, Honorable Ngoveni, the member of the WIPARI, and the honorable members in the Executive Council, and all my colleague, honorable members. Ke a le tamisha, a mashwe wa go hloka slabi.
we always take honor to address this important August House. Madam Speaker, my home party, the African National Congress, which is the governing party in our beautiful Limpopo province, support and ratify the State of the Province address as it was presented before this August House by our Honorable Premier Dr. Popira Matu. As comprehensive as it was, we are looking forward to doing the work in the upcoming year to serve the people of our province with honor. The marching orders were frank and clear on many fronts. But for the sake of this debate, there are few pointers that we need to highlight, Honorable Speaker. A road to clean governance. As the governing party in our province, the African National Congress withdraw directives from the upper structure at all times. But on the point that we want to deliver in this exercise is the year theme or messaging from the January 8, which is the year of decisive action to fix local government and transform the economy. The directive is straightforward and need men and women in government to work even more harder to deliver on the directive, especially those who were tasked with the responsibility at the local sphere of our government. Madam Speaker and honorable members, it is evident that in our province we were proactive to get our house in order, Honorable Premier. Our house are in order to align with the directive, looking into the local sphere of our government in general. Weaknesses are winnable because in the main, there are progressive and positive signs to clean governance. A good example is that of the recent audit outcomes, followed by the South African Local Government Awards. In terms of the outcomes, out of 27 municipalities, 2 got clean audit, that is Capricorn District and Waterberg District, and 18 of them unqualified audit opinion with 7 qualified. Madam Speaker, we wish to see Capricorn and Waterberg districts sustaining the clean audits, and the 18 unqualified audit opinion should step up and be counted amongst the clean audits in the next financial year, and the 7 qualified should strive hard to improve in the next financial year. The picture generally is promising, Honorable Speaker. It's very progressive. That is why we say we are responding positively to the directive as mentioned above. Number 2, the inclusive growth and job creation. As pointed out in manifesto of the governing party, our government is responding very well on growing our economy and in creating jobs. The results are promising also, maybe just as a starting point. The statistics South Africa's income and expenditure survey has it that Limpopo has decreased poverty from 66% in 2015 to 47% in 2023, which is the largest compared to other provinces. That suggests that to be characterized as the poorest province is almost over. We are no longer a poor province. We are also one of the 4th largest South Africa's GDP contributors. And that shows that the leadership in government are hard at work to serve our communities. On unemployment rate, there is a decline or a significant decrease as pointed out by Statistics South Africa in all the quarters, from 35% in quarter 2 to 29.8% in quarter 3 and 28.2% in quarter 4. This created a balance as our province is counted amongst the 4 best performing provinces. And the employment creation was mainly dominated by agriculture, mining, tourism, and manufacturing. A path to build a capable and developmental state in our province is on course. Honorable Speaker, on agriculture, it is indeed true that agriculture is the engine of rural jobs, especially in agro-processing and perfecting CASP and farmer support program. We can account to enormous job creation in our province, which also it is translate into the growth of our economy and guaranteed for food security. Madam Speaker, Zebediela citrus was one of the most talked about, especially in the previous years, Honorable Mapole. The collapse initiative that was very successful in the past, thanks to our government, they have managed to overcome the underlying challenges that were there. To some extent, some were internal in the CPA. At least most of them were addressed and the investor was found. And at the moment, implementation of the project was commenced, and there is a guarantee of job creation, the permanent ones and the temporary ones during the harvesting season. Madam Speaker, the foot and mouth outbreak was reported on the 5th of December 2025. In the previous year, the outbreak was managed and kept by the relevant authorities and personnel in the department and even outside. As our government, together with relevant stakeholders, will be rolling out a vaccination program. It will also be key and very intelligent to conduct foot and mouth disease workshop in our province, Honorable Speaker, where the office of the Premier, the Department of Agriculture, and the farmers, together with the relevant bodies and stakeholders, to assist in awareness, vaccination, and their method, and any other assistance that will be necessary.
Raleboga, Siabonga. Siabonga, me Kupa Mabuza, Siabonga. We'll now proceed to request Honorable Matsubani Jump Sibutuma to come to the podium. He has 3 minutes to the debate.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Premier, Honorable members of the House of Africa. I've brought, this House should recognize that I brought both the hard copy and the soft copy as Plan A and Plan B. I do not want the repeat of Thank you. And this government should also take a cue that when you govern, you have got Plan A and Plan B. Thank you very much. The 2026 of the province address presented by the Honorable Premier paints a picture of progress and optimism. However, when we move beyond the promises and examine the lived reality of the people of Limpopo, a very different picture emerges. The first concern is the gap between commitment and implementation. Year after year, government announces ambitious programs, yet many of these commitments remain unfinished or delayed. Communities across the province continue to face incomplete infrastructure projects, poorly maintained roads, and public facilities that do not meet basic service standards. Secondly, the Premier speaks about economic growth and job creation, but unemployment in Limpopo remains stubbornly high, particularly among young people. Many graduates and young people in our province are still sitting at home without opportunities. If job creation initiatives were truly efficient, we would see a noticeable improvement in employment figures. Unfortunately, that improvement has not materialized as at the scale our province desperately needs. Another major concern is the state of basic services. Many rural communities still struggle with reliable water supply, proper sanitation, and consistent electricity access. In some villages, people still rely on water tankers as a long-term solution rather than a temporary measure. This situation undermines dignity and limits economic development in those areas. Honorable Speaker, the Premier also spoke about improvements in education and health services. Yet the reality on the ground tells a different story. Schools in some parts of the province continue to experience overcrowded classrooms, infrastructure backlogs, and shortages of resources. In our health facilities, long queues, staff shortages, and inadequate equipment remains serious challenges for the ordinary citizens seeking medical care. Equally concerning is the issue of government spending and efficiency. Every year, we hear about funds that are returned to the National Treasury because departments fail to spend their allocated budgets. At the same time, communities lack critical services. In conclusion, Honourable Speaker, the State of the Province address should not only inspire hope, it must also demonstrate a credible plan to address the province's specific challenges. Without stronger implementation, oversight, and accountability, many of the promises we hear will remain exactly that, promises. Kanima.
Ra leboga Ntate Sebotoma. We shall now request Honorable Mme Mabungu Luruli Ramakhanya to come and contribute to the debate. Mme Luruli Ramakhanya, I've got 10 minutes to the debate. Over to you, ma.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, our Premier, Dr. Popura Matuba, MECs, Chief Whip, Office of the Whippery, Chair of Chairs, Deputy, Chairpersons of Committee, leaders of the opposition, honorable members and distinguished guests. Freedom is not a word, freedom is a warm meal, freedom is a safe ride home, freedom is a pair of shoes. I open with that phrase, Speaker, because we are gathered this Human Rights Month commemorating the 30th anniversary of our Constitution. We must ask ourselves a difficult question. What does the Bill of Rights feel like to a child and to our citizen of Limpopo? It is in the speech delivered by the Honorable Premier. It is indeed a sad day if members of this House come and not represent the mandate given by the voters. But at least we can be comforted that this House is being led by the ANC, and we are still ready to lead Limpopo. The traditional leadership in Limpopo talk to the Premier and the MEC directly, no middle person. The 7th administration took Makoshi on a retreat for a 2-day conversation in Palala. As a follow-up, there was a meeting on the 17th of December where their issues were discussed and also accommodated in the SOPA. On the 11th of March, the Premier and the MEC had a conversation about all departments and all traditional leadership talk to their government. Human Rights Month, we remember at Sharpeville, the 69 souls. Freedom was a bullet they stopped with their bodies. For us, freedom is a responsibility we carry in our hands. And for the learners of Limpopo, freedom must be tangible. It must be the roof over their classroom, the tablet in their hands, and the food in their bellies, and the bus that carries them safely home. The Premier State of Address is not merely a government report. It is a translation of Chapter 2 of the Constitution into the language of the village. The opposition looks at the Premier's speech and sees a list of projects. We look at it and see the architect of human dignity. The floods that have devastated the province, the Premier has led a disaster team to compile a report and create timelines around them. Honorable Speaker, we often
We often build compartments. We speak of housing rights, water rights, and education rights as separate silos. But the Premier understands a profound truth. It was all in one basket. Education being the master key that unlocks every other right in the Constitution. Without education, the right to dignity is hollow because a person cannot lift themselves out of poverty. Without education, the right to work remains a dream because an unskilled population cannot access the economy. Without education, the right to quality is theoretical because the gap between the informed and the uninformed remains the wildest issue in society. That is why the Department of Education's theme for 2026 align with the Premier's speech, and it is said transformation and development. It is not a bureaucratic statement, it is a human rights implementation plan. Section 29 of the Constitution guarantees basic education. The Premier SOPA doubles down on the infrastructure of justice. When we build a computer and a science laboratories, we are not just pouring concrete, we are laying a foundation for a society where a child from a rural village can stand on equal footing with a child from Centon. That is not just development, that is reparative justice. Speaker, the House should not be tempted to debate a question on our commitment of societal issues. Let me speak about the three pillars that supports a child's ability to learn: your nutrition, your transport, and the dignity. Firstly, the National School Nutrition Program speaks of a hungry child that could not learn, but it's a biological fact. You cannot pour knowledge into an empty stomach. That is why every single school day, the scheme places a plate of food before thousands of learners across the province. When we serve that meal, we are not just feeding a child, we are operationalizing Section 27 of the Constitution, the right to sufficient food. We are saying to that learner, your government sees you, your government values you, and your government will ensure that hunger does not steal your potential. Those who like shouting speaks of rights and in an as an abstract concept. We serve rights and remain true to our commitment Monday to Friday in every corner of Limpopo. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, the scholar transport. How a child exercise their right to education if they cannot reach the school door. In our vast rural province, distance is often the enemy of dreams. That is why the Premier's SOPA speech reaffirms our commitment to scholar transport. We put buses on the roads so that young people in the remote villages are not left out. We do this because Section 29 means nothing if the journey to school is long and dangerous, that children arrive too exhausted to learn. Thirdly, Honorable Speaker, dignity through basic necessities. Let me speak about the shoes. At Hananoko Primary School in Hamphatlele, we launched the 5,000 Shoes, 5,000 Smiles campaign together with Tobela FM and Lisedi 7 Group. Why does the Department of Education care about shoes? Because poverty is the biggest learning barrier. A child who walks kilometers to school barefooted is not thinking about fraction. They are thinking about the sting of the gravel. A child who is teased for their worn-out uniform is not thinking about history. They are thinking about the shame burning in their cheeks. When we remove these non-academic barriers, hunger, distance, and shame, we are not doing charity. We are saying to that child, you matter. Your presence in this classroom matter. Your future matters. The Premier's address centralizes this holistic view of humanity. It understands that you cannot develop a mind if the body is suffering. That is the essence of transformation. Moving from a system that only taught the privileged to a system that nurtures the vulnerable from the moment they wake up until they return home. The Premier's vision, as outlined in the SOPA, is to break that cycle through digital transformation. We are moving from paper-based queues to seamless online. We are not just building schools, we are building smart schools. We are not just training teachers, we are developing digital pedagogies. This is a development with a conscience. This is transformation with a purpose. Honorable members, I want to put it clear that our Premier, Dr. Popirama Tuba, did not simply deliver a State of the Province address. She delivered a state of hope. She stood before us and articulated a vision where the economy grows at 7.8, but she knows, and we know, that the economic growth without educational development creates island of wealth in oceans of poverty. SOPA connects the dots. It links the growth of GDP to the growth of our classrooms. It ties the expansion of the agricultural sector to the skills. Honorable Speaker, the Premier gave us a holistic roadmap. She showed us that the water infrastructure we build today will fill the taps of the schools and communities we renovate tomorrow. She showed us that the roads we tar will smooth the journey for our scholar transport vehicles. Honorable Speaker, the challenges that we face today will be solved tomorrow. The one challenge highlighted will be solved by the Dikgerekgere Wednesday problem. And the transport that ferries our parents from their homes will also safely, on the road that Dikgerekgere has passed, take them back home. And in closing, let me return to the national theme: we reflect, we renew, and we recommit. We continue to reflect on the children of Sharpeville who died so that we could have the right to learn and to lead as we do today. We renew our pledge against the weapon of poverty, ignorance, and inequality. We recommit to the Premier's vision, a vision where every citizen, regardless of their geographical place or their background, feels warmth of their constitutional rights. I thank you.
Roliboa, MEC, thank you so much, MEC. Roliboa. Roliboa, in terms of the guest list, we'll remember that Honorable Mukwana has donated the minutes. We'll now proceed to the last person on the debate. Honorable Basikopo Rogers Makamu. Inkarwa n'wina Tatan Makamu. You have got 15 minutes to close the debate.
Thanks very much, Honorable Speaker, Dr. Makoma Makrupechi, to our Deputy Speaker, Honorable Tebogo, to our Premier, Dr. Popirama Tuba, colleagues in the Executive Council, honorable members of the legislature, the leadership of the ruling party, the African National Congress, the leaders of opposition parties, Director General and heads of department, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Honorable Speaker, I rise this afternoon not simply to participate in this debate, but to close it with clarity, with facts, and with a firm defense on the work that this government continue to do to build a better Limpopo. Over the past hours, we have listened carefully to the contribution by the honorable members. Debate is a lifeblood of democracy. It sharpens ideas, it tests arguments, and it strengthens accountability. But debate must illuminate solutions. It must not simply amplify pessimism, like we're hearing others making noise here. Too often in this chamber today, we have heard noise presented as policy, as cynicism, presented as analysis. Yet the people of Limpopo expect far from us. They expect leadership, they expect responsibility, they expect shared commitment to building the province. The people of Limpopo did not vote for despair. Thanks very much, Honorable Speaker. The people of Limpopo voted not for despair. They voted progress. They voted government that is leading, and that is the African National Congress. The State of the Province address delivered by Honorable Premier Dr. Popira Matupa did not paint a picture of perfection. It presented an honest account of challenges and a clear program to action to confront them. This government does not run away from problems. We confront them directly.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the WIPAR, we just wanted to express our disappointment that the decorum and the presidium of this House has to be respected, and we must maintain the order that is needed. Any member who is deviating from the established protocols of this House. Thank you, Speaker.
On a point of order, Speaker. On a point of order. Thank you very much. Don't ask me which order. Don't do that. Honorable Speaker, we're rising to remind you as a presiding officer that you've allowed that side of this sitting to howl at almost all the speakers who spoke here. You even allow, you see they're starting. You see? When we come in peace, you've allowed them. Bella, when you are very empty, my sister, must just keep quiet. Don't do those things. You've allowed that. Yeah. Okay.
Honorable members, can you please assist us? Because responding doesn't help. Over to you, Honorable Juan.
Thanks, Honorable Speaker. I think what I wanted to draw your attention to is that try to apply the rules equally on all of us. Because even Honorable Mapolo, they were screaming here, even the executive, at him when he was speaking. You never called that order. And we kept quiet. And we knew we'll return the favor 10 times worse. So when you apply the rules, apply them fairly and equally. We cannot allow a situation, Honorable Bioscope, Kimurena Jeso, so all of us must keep. Our own leaders are being disrespected. That one will not take. That must be very clear. We're going to scream. We're with you. And
Honorable members, I suggest, Honorable Chief Whip, this matter be taken to the WIPAR so that in the future sittings we don't experience the same matter. But I think, Honorable Mowan, what I will suggest that in the future, you don't wait to return the favor. When something that is happening, you think it's not in order in terms of the rules and the decorum, raise a point so that you don't come back and say, I'm returning a favor. So can we allow Honorable MEC, we are referring the matter to the WIPARI for them to be able to deal with it accordingly. Thank you. Honorable MEC, you can proceed.
Thank you very much. We will deal with the matter there. Honorable Speaker, the Premier reminded this House that our province recently faced of the most devastating natural disaster since year 2000. In January this year, the torrential floods swept across parts of our province, particularly affecting the district of Wembe and Mopani. 27 lives were lost, more than 3,500 families were affected with their homes, roads, infrastructure were destroyed. They were not merely statistics, they were families, they were communities, they were livelihoods. Yet, in the midst of the tragedy, something remarkable happened in Limpopo as we stood together. When disaster struck, government did not despair. Government was present. Government was working side by side with the people. When the President of the Republic, President Ramaphosa, visited the affected communities, he witnessed the resilience and solidarity of our people. He commended the cooperation between government, communities, emergency services in responding to the crisis as led by our Premier, Dr. Popi Ramathuba. While some were issuing statements, our disaster management teams, municipal workers, mayors, engineers, and community volunteers were already on the ground, assisting families in restoring access.
Honorable Law.
Thanks, Honorable Speaker. I just wanted to be schooled. It's good that the Honorable MEC spoke about the disaster. Which tool or method was used to quantify the cost? Because to my knowledge, it was just common sense to go around saying these are the costs of this and that. And there were no technical people who went to verify the damages. I was on the ground. I speak from reality, which I've seen during oversight. So we just want to see which technical tool or which experts were involved to quantify the cost of balloon disaster costs. Thank you.
Order, Speaker.
Okay. Honorable Lebogo was out of order. Because during the debate, you can't debate. When you raise a point of order, you must raise a point of order if the member is ready to take a question, but you can't debate. So Honorable Lebogo is out of order. Over to you, MEC Makam.
Thanks very much, Honorable Speaker. The floods damaged more than 450 roads and destroyed thousands of homes. Yet we did not retreat. Under the leadership of Premier, government has implemented a 90-day recovery and monitoring plan to rebuild the affected areas. We also welcome the decisive intervention by the Treasury MEC under the leadership of the Premier, MEC Mawai, who announced the reprioritization of more than 685 million in the provincial budget for the urgent disaster recovery and rebuilding. This has happened after the Premier has made announcement and funds were made available to show that the actions that we speak about are funded. But we are not simply rebuilding, we are rebuilding better. In the several areas, properly constructed RDP houses remain standing with poorly built structures collapsed. This is why the department will insist on quality, durability, and accountability in every human settlement program. Let me say this clearly. Anyone who attempts to profit from the suffering of our people will face the full consequence of the law, as the Premier announced during the State of the Province address. The dignity of our people is not for sale. Honorable Speaker, some members of the opposition have suggested that Limpopo is stagnant. The facts tell the different story. Across our province, infrastructure development continues to expand opportunities of economic growth and social development. Through the road agency Limpopo, government manages a road network of approximately 20,000 kilometers that connects villages, towns, farms, and economic centers. For the 2026 and 2027 financial year, Roads Agency Limpopo will initiate 17 new infrastructure projects, which total investment exceeding 1.3 billion. These projects are not abstract numbers on paper. They are real roads that connect communities to markets, learners to schools, patients to health facilities. Government has also strengthened the road maintenance capacity through the procurement of 54 earth-moving machinery to support the Dikhere Wednesday program, which is doing well and accepted by our traditional leaders. Yesterday, when I met with Hoshi Kiwi also commended MEC Rachweni for the Khere projects that are taking place in that area. So through this initiative, more than 17,000 kilometers of gravel roads have already been serviced across the province. We are also completing critical infrastructure projects, such as the 33-kilometer road from Robeng to Skusese Road, which is nearing completion, which will also unlock economic opportunities for surrounding communities. At the same time, government is prioritizing the construction and upgrading of low-lying bridges, including infrastructure such as Chinga Bridge. Lives must never be lost because infrastructure failed where it should have been protected our people. Infrastructure is not simply about construction. It's about unlocking development and connecting people with opportunities. Honorable Speaker, the economic future in Limpopo is anchored on three strategic sectors, that is agriculture, mining, and tourism. The sectors form the backbone of economic growth and employment in our province. In agriculture, government is transforming the sector into a labor-intensive and adding value to the industry. The revitalization of the Bidiela citrus estate, as the Premier pronounced, has also started to create jobs and strengthen food production and export potential. The initiatives such Ecovado processing plant in Dobeni village illustrate the importance of agro-processing. The facility processes several tons of avocados per hour while strengthening local economic value chain. In the energy sector, we welcome the commitment by ESCOM to invest 35 billion towards a pumped storage scheme. This project will generate approximately 1,500 megawatts of energy capacity and create thousands of employment opportunities. These developments demonstrate the Limpopo is not merely participating in the national economy. We are a province helping shape the economy of the whole country. Honorable Speaker, let me turn into the important issues of local government. We have not pretended that all municipalities are functioning perfectly. Challenges exist. However, this government is implementing decisive intervention to strengthen governance, financial management, and service delivery. Hence, it is not surprising today that we are a disclaimer and adverse-free province with unqualified and clean audits and qualified audits only. Our objective is very clear. Municipalities must become institutions that deliver services effectively and manage public resources. We are intensifying our efforts to improve audit outcomes, strengthen financial controls, and ensure accountability at municipal level. Honorable Speaker, I must hasten to come to the purpose. It's not to speculate. The people were talking about water in Polokwane. Yesterday, the Premier of the province convened a press briefing just after convening high-level briefing to provide the province with a transparent account of water supply challenges affecting the city of Polokwane. The engagement brought together the Deputy Minister of Water, Executive Mayor, and the leadership of Lepelle Northern Water and senior officials. The purpose was not to speculate. The purpose was to confront the facts. The city currently requires approximately 174 million liters water per day. However, the combined yield from the Ebenezer and Olifant Sport system currently provides about 118 million liters per day. This leaves a significant gap between the supply and demand that affects household, business, and economic. To address these challenges, the Premier has established a technical war room tasked with stabilizing supply while planning long-term infrastructure. And today we got an update that all is well and people are receiving water. That is the intervention we're talking about. A new standard operating procedure is also implementing strengthened coordination between Lepelle Northern Water and City of Polokwane so that operational failures are resolved. Where? On traditional leadership and soul cohesion, the institution of social...
Thank you. On a point of order, I'm going to start with me with which rules. I rise on a point of order, Honorable Speaker, that the honorable member, it's unparliamentary for the honorable member to take a podium and lie to the people of Polokwane that there is water when he knows there is no water. He's lying and he must not lie in the house. He took an oath. He's lying. He's not telling the truth. Maringa was fetching water with a bucket here. He's lying. He's lying. He must not lie. You know Maringa was with you. You must not lie. I'll switch. With a Mercedes Benz.
Honorable Mogwane, it's out of order. If, can you listen to now that I must be able to rule on your point of order? She's out of order on the basis that if whatever the debate the MEC is saying might be incorrect facts, that matter in terms of the rules can be brought back to the House as a motion that can be debated. So for now, can we allow the MEC to conclude? If there is any matter, let's allow members to bring the motion for the debate by the House. Over to you, Honorable MEC.
Speaker, I want to hear from the MEC if he's willing to take a question.
Immediately after I finish my presentation, I will be readily available to take a question. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On the issue of traditional leadership and social cohesion, the institution of traditional leadership remains vital pillar of governance and social stability in Limpopo. Through our partnership with Limpopo House of Traditional Leaders, we continue to strengthen collaboration between government and traditional authorities in areas such as land administration, social cohesion, and local economic development. Traditional leaders remain custodians of our cultural heritage and guardians of the community stability. They are also essential partners in ensuring that development reaches the communities. Further to this, the Honorable Premier, in collaboration with the Limpopo House, has initiated a program to strengthen developmental role of traditional leaders. District houses, as we speak, are being enrolled on training programs delivered through National School of Governance to equip them with skills required to advance development with their own communities. Just yesterday, the chairperson of the Provincial House has invited the Premier together with the executive members to say, out of the skills they are acquiring, they will be handing over projects together with the Premier, which they come from the skills they acquired through this NSG building capacity. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude and prepare the ground for the Premier for final response, let me record this debate which reflects one simple truth. Limpopo is not stagnant. It's a rebuilding, it is rebuilding after disaster. It is investing in infrastructure. It is unlocking economic opportunities. It is strengthening the institution of local government. The people of Limpopo did not elect us to exchange acquisition across the aisle, as we have witnessed here. They elected us to govern, to build, and to deliver. We will build the roads, we will deliver water, we will restore dignity of our people. Limpopo is moving forward. Limpopo is working. As together, we will ensure Limpopo prevails. And thank you, Nakensa. Nko. You will see me.
Akensa tatani makamu kuba mi kote ku pfala debate ya siku ra namuntlha. Ikhense swinene. Ikhense swinene. Ikhense swinene. Loko mi hetini ku debate namuntlha was a very good day for all of us to exchange and debate and talk to the people of the province. And you did that, all of you, within your time that has been allocated. From where I'm sitting, I want to thank you so much it was indeed a fruitful debate and that we want the people of the province to see that we are hard at work. I'm now going to go to item 8 in terms of the order. Yes.
Speaker, the MEC indicated that he's willing to take the question after his debate. So may I please ask the question so that he can respond? Thank you.
MEC, can you ask a question? Can you ask the question now? I want to hear from you.
Thanks very much. If time permits, I'm prepared to take the question.
Honorable Speaker. Order, Speaker.
Speaker, we are going to be out of order because Honorable Marx, he was asking a question. He was asking Honorable Makamu to take a question, and Honorable Makamu said he will take it outside. It will be unparliamentary. No. It will be. If they want, Honorable Speaker, if they want a debate, let them write again so that we should be able to have a debate because they have been given an opportunity to debate. So now the matter, let's consider it closed. Honorable Makam is not going to take the question. Thank you very much.
Honorable Marx, you wanted to ask a question on the debate of Honorable Makam. Now, Honorable Makam has concluded this debate. On what item are you asking a question on the order paper?
Speaker, on more than one occasion, you would recall that members on that side asked Honorable Wilson if she will take a question. I've done exactly the same. And for the first time since I've been here, I received an answer to say, yes, after my debate, I will answer. And then MEC said again, if permitted, he will do so. He's willing to take the question and he's willing to answer. Let's give the public the question and the answer. Why is Honorable Thabo Mokoni trying to hide whatever the question is and whatever the answer is? It is directly on the debate. Look how they howl. You've asked me a question and I'm responding. The question will be directly related to his debate. Thank you.
I'll allow Honorable Dr. Cheselani to raise his order. But before I allow you, I want to caution Honorable Marx that while Honorable Makam is agreeing, he's agreeing on which item on the order paper. Because I'm sitting with the order paper, we've decided he was supposed to take a question during his debate. So once he didn't take a question during his debate, then he's now tampering with my order paper. Yeah, what? Yes, what rule, you see? Yes, you see, yeah. So you can only ask a question to a person during his 15 minutes. He should have used his 15 minutes to listen to your question and answer to your question. Okay, yes. I'm now giving direction, isn't it? Honorable Dr. Cheslani, you want to say something? I wanted to answer him first.
Honorable Dr. Speaker, you have already ruled. I wanted to say what you have said. You have told that honorable member. And askanya or tralela.
Honorable members, we have come to the conclusion. The debates are done. The debates are done. Honorable Faith Swap.
Yeah, Speaker, I just wanted to assist you to close the matter properly
in terms of House Rules 96, the House Rules allows an explanation during a debate is allowed only when a material part of a member's speech has been misquoted or misunderstood. But the member is not permitted to introduce any new matter, and no debate is allowed on such explanation. In this regard, House Chair, the debate has been closed, so that we won't allow any introduction of any matter on that in that regard.
We want to thank you, Honorable Swapela, for going through the rules. I think, honorable members, let us not debate from common sense. All the time, let's be able to refer to our own rules, because those are our rules that as and when we raise matters, we must be able to follow. On that note, honorable members, the debate is closed. Item 7 is closed. We are now moving to item 8. Deputy Speaker, Honorable Mayor Mamrovela, can you please? We shall raise issues of protocol as the presiding officers in the future, Deputy Speaker. Yeah. We can allow Honorable Ngobeni to proceed, but we shall raise our own protocol matters as presiding officers. Over to you, Honorable Ngobeni.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The Deputy Speaker of the Legislature, Honorable Tebogo Mamorobela, the Premier of our province, the Leader of Government Business, esteemed members of the Executive Council, the Whipari, the Deputy Chief Whip, Honorable Rogers Monama, the Deputy Chair, the Chair of Chairs, Honorable Tabu. Indeed, it was a festival of sharp interlocutors and flimsy rhetoricians on the one hand and on the other. The Speaker of our legislature, I rise to make only two announcements. One is that the next sitting of the House is on Tuesday, the 17th of March 2026, here at Lebogomo Legislative Chamber. Two, that luncheon will be served to honorable members and guests in the gallery, including and not limited to the fighters, I see them there, here for food. At the main committee boardrooms. Thank you very much, Asante, Asante San.
Honorable members, thank you so much. We now come to the end of the sitting. I want to take this opportunity to thank Premier for your time sitting in this year and all MECs present. Honorable members, we shall now adjourn the sitting of the legislature until Tuesday, 17th March 2026 at Lewahomu, when the Premier will be responding to the debate. Thank you so much. The sitting stands adjourned until the 17th March here at Lewahomu Legislative Chamber. The House is adjourned. Thank you so much.